But first, today's papers. What caught your eye this morning, Louise?
Well, the papers this morning are absolutely full of economic doom and gloom. So this from the Times: dark clouds on the horizon as Osborne faces day of reckoning.
That's very biblical, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is, yeah. And the debate over the coalition's programme of spending cuts will be reignited today as the Bank of England publishes what is expected to be a downbeat economic outlook.
Can't they just start putting little, maybe one-line jokes at the end of all
I think they
these
should
things?
just cheer everyone up a bit,
to,
you know, make it a bit lighter.
What, like, just kidding? None of this is actually true.
No, just like do the whole thing, you know, his dark clouds on the horizon, Osborne's going, and then, you know, Englishman, Irishman, Scotsman walk into a bar, or something like that, you know.
Can't afford to pay them around because the beer's going
Oh, Steve.
Yeah,
right.
And which gets worse, again in the Times, because it says hospitals fear the downturn will hit their targets for cancer treatment and for them sort of tackling superbugs within hospitals.
Okay.
I know, but the cover of that paper's also got a picture of a monkey.
And a picture of a monkey, yes.
I know.
So it's
Yeah,
lovely.
OK, brilliant.
Swings and roundabouts.
Thanks for that,
George
the Times.
Osborne, isn't it?
Hey! Oh, satire.
And in the Express, the headline is, on the scrap heap at 50, big rise in older jobless. And the recession has left a huge number of workers over 50 condemned to long-term unemployment, new figures reveal.
What happened to, in the other parts of the world, where the older you are, the more wisdom you have, the more experience you have, the more that you can bring to a job? It seems like if you're between 25 and 45, everything's cool. Anything below that or after that, and you're just not good anymore. But, you know, as I see here, you know, people here. I mean, what are you, 30, madam? 30, just about 30. You know, just, you know, you get to a certain age and, you know a lot more about the world. You have a lot more experience. But, you know, not here in the West, apparently. It's over.
Not
Battery's
valued.
out.
You're
over.
done.
Yeah,
You're done. And as we've been talking about already, you can't drown your sorrows. By the end of next year, a pint of lager is going to cost you £4 because of poor barley harvests and higher taxes.
What?
I know.
That's the problem. All these other factors are coming into play. It's not just the economy, it's the barley harvest that's affecting it.
Good grief. If you were invited to a dinner party with newspaper editors at the moment, you would swerve it, wouldn't you? Can you imagine? There must be the most depressing people in the whole world. Give us something nice. Wouldn't we like something happy in the newspapers just to cheer us up a little bit? It'd be nice. Oh.
Well, maybe this, or maybe not. In the Daily Mail, you've got a £140 million flat for sale. So clearly some people have still got their money to lay out on this.
Right.
World record price for a flat. It boasts a penthouse view over central London, a private wine tasting facility, which is always nice.
It's called a fridge, isn't
Yeah,
it?
a fridge, and as if that wasn't enough, it's got an underground tunnel to a Heston Blumenthal restaurant.
Wow.
Which sounds... I'd rather go to McDonald's, frankly. I can't see how that's interesting.
Very niche, isn't it? Yeah.
Wow, OK.
Too much dry ice in that.
We should take heart from the fact that people are parking their money in London still. It's still the place where you want to invest in bricks and mortar. So all the super rich are coming over here. So there is still movement right at the top of the market. But whether that helps the lesser mortals like us, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure it trickles down too much. 140 million quid on a flat. Steve?
Yeah, first stories in The Sun, and it's... I seem to be getting the natural disaster stories this week. This is kind of a roundup of all the natural disasters around the world at the moment, both in China, Africa, Pakistan, Brazil. One thing I didn't know, I knew there was there are these awful fires in Russia, but they're killing up to 700 people a day, these fires in Russia, from toxic smog. Awful, awful. I do think it's a bit tasteless, though, that The Sun then put a little thing at the bottom with our 3-day UK forecast, which is going between 21 and 23 degrees centigrade, so nothing to worry about here. I think that's a little bit off. But then it's The Sun, so quelle surprise. The next story's in The Guardian on page 8. It's a story about autism can be detected with a simple brain scan, says studies. A 15-minute brain scan could help diagnose autism in youngsters, and it's all to do with the thickness of tissue in parts of the grey matter in certain areas of the brain. This is obviously early days. You don't know how much this would cost or whether this would be available on the NHS. And it also said that they do need more studies before this technique is used.
Presumably we'd be told we can't afford to do it.
Exactly, and it will just be certain people that will be privileged to have this. Speaking of which, this next story in The Times, David Cameron made a little speech recently in an off-the-cuff question and answer session in Manchester. And he was asked a question, and basically he inferred that it was talking about kind of Sure Start children's centres, and he said the sharp-elbowed middle class like my wife and me.
With your joint fortune of 170 million pounds.
The combined fortune, the fact that he's kind of, although illegitimately related to the Queen, that he can trace his ancestry back to William IV. There's a thing about the upper class, there's certain people in the upper class like to pretend that they're of the people, so they say that they're middle class.
Right, OK.
And the Times quite helpfully have got little columns to say, how posh are you, which is hilarious.
And how did you do on that scale there, Steve?
I'm exceedingly posh. Now, I'm middle class, proud and confused, and I always have been.
Right, OK.
That's the privilege of the middle class.
Right, OK.
And the next one it's in the Daily Mail. So the mood of the Daily Mail today is... Ooh! Ooh! And this is a story about that we're now relying on texting to communicate in our own houses. So we don't actually... In David Cameron's, you know, things to say like, dinner's ready! And obviously in David Cameron's house, there's a small boy from the colonies banging a gong to mark
I say,
the beginning of dinner time.
Would you come downstairs and bring me the...
We're actually sitting at tables and we're texting each other that your dinner's on the table.
I did it last night. I texted to tell my boyfriend to turn the TV down.
And what?
Yeah, because I just couldn't get out of bed.
Was he?
I was asleep in bed, trying to sleep.
How big is your house?
I BlackBerry messaged him, which is free, so it doesn't really count.
It does count in the laziness stakes, doesn't it?
Well, I suppose... I
was asleep or trying to be.
You have kind of... You don't like the shrieking. I don't like shouting in houses. So that's actually... I think there's a part of it that you go, well, it's just shush, shush, or come up and see me.
I did that little face thing.
Come on, seriously. All right, Natalie.
OK, The Guardian.
Lazy woman.
The Naomi Campbell saga rumbles on as the subplot to the war crimes trial of Charles Taylor. She says that she's nothing to gain by lying in the trial. Apart from her credibility, but maybe that was shot to pieces anyway.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be her PR, would you?
No. Her former agent, Carol White, has also been accused of telling a complete pack of lies. Now, the trouble is that this is all kind of wrapped up in her own separate lawsuit against Campbell, so a lot of people are suspicious of whether she's telling the truth in this case. So. Next story in the Daily Mail. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to take this one. A superbug that is resistant to antibiotics has caused an alarming potential to spread, has reached Britain. No, look at you. I'm sorry.
It's not scaremongering again by the Mail, is it?
I know.
It's an asylum seeker, presumably, is it? It's, try and keep it at some camp.
It's a foreign bug. Coming here.
Coming over here, taking over our bugs.
Listen to the quote they've included from Professor Walsh. In many ways, this is it. This is potentially the end. There are no antibiotics in the pipeline.
Wow.
Pack up and go home now.
My gosh. Right, wow. I bet this afternoon, if you're in central London, you'll soon be running naked up and down Oxford Street, because that's what I've always wanted to do if the end of the world was happening. So I'll see you in central London later on this afternoon.
Look forward to that.
Yeah. No, you won't.
Talking of when things come to an end, wanting to go out with style, this is a brilliant story in today's Mirror, where an air steward had just quite simply had enough. He went to ask a lady to sit down who'd already stood up before the seatbelt sign had gone off. And she told him in no uncertain terms to F off. So he ripped off his tie, went over to the tannoy and issued a load of expletives back at her and said, I've had enough. Well, I don't know what put on that accent. He's from New York. Ripped off his tie, grabbed a beer on his way out, and then launched the emergency exit chute and whizzed down it. They'd already landed, you see, at JFK. Right. So he pulled off the emergency thing and went out and said, is it? I'm out of here. Finished. Done. How many of you would love to do that if you just had 6 your back teeth of a job? Brilliant.
So a total hero as far as you're concerned.
He was arrested. He did also throw the passenger's bag out when he came up. Brilliant. And now there are free Stephen Slater T-shirts available online. Love it. Round of applause for Stephen Slater. Yeah. Brilliant. And my final story should just maintain that smile on your face, hopefully, because a kid dropped his Nintendo DS game console into a gorilla enclosure in San Francisco. And this is gorgeous because the gorillas actually picked up the console and started playing with it. And look at this picture. Guess
There's
what?
a child screaming somewhere.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Good.
No, I think this is so cute.
Takes us on to the next story we're going to do, actually.
This is what they say. They were playing Donkey Kong.
Hey! Absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant.
I think my wife actually taught my 3-year-old how to pick up my PSP and drop it in the bath, because that's exactly what he did. Exactly what I did. I was like obsessed with this PSP.
Yeah.
And then it was in slow motion. If you've got toddlers, you'll know when they destroy something of yours, it all happens in slow motion. And I was just running there like this, like an action film. No! Like that, as he just went... like that, and then gave me the biggest smile. Right, and then, weirdly enough, my wife gave me an even bigger smile. After the break, does Britain hate kids? I did then, I can tell you about that. We might claim, of course, to be a country geared up to hug our little ones and love them. But if your 2-year-old has had a meltdown in a restaurant, just how child-friendly are we then? Does Britain hate kids? And has your view changed since you became a parent? 0207 173 5555 is the number for your calls. Get in contact with me. I would love to hear if you believe that this country loves kids or indeed hates kids. Your shout after the break.
What percentage of people think Britain isn't as child-friendly as the rest of Europe? 26, 46 or 66%? Find out in 3.